where does all of this Memento keep coming from? Orcust continues to drive it on home, and Rizaol is still holding on. Make sure you guys smash the like crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more Orcust content. It appears the next play is ramping back up out here, and I know we just made it to the new year out here, and duelists are very, very, very interested to rush out here and to play this format. Now, these numbers are very, very interesting. You gotta remember, Rizaol just got slaughtered on their list. Memento has become like the king of hell out here in terms of this, and you had 7 Memento duelists enter into this event, which is a grossly high number to think about. And then right behind it, we had 6 Malice duelists, which is a little bit more normal, honestly. And then we had 5 Rizaol duelists. So, you know, with 1 EX, it took people a little bit to kind of figure things out and go, hey, you know, like, this deck is not dead at all. You know, we just lost a little bit of our gas, but I mean, that's nothing to really, you know, stop this engine from still going. They still have all the other good cards to get things going. Now, you're going to notice Orcust down here as a 4 of, and, you know, Orcust and Memento both have been turning the OCG sideways out here. Orcust, it is genuinely amazing to me just to see that 2 cards was enough to shift this back into the meta spotlight as a absolute monster. We also had 2 copies of Gem Knights. I mean, Gem Knights Block Dragon, you can thank for allowing that deck to still do its thing. We had 2 Blue Eyes. We also had 2 Snake Eyes, 2 Tempais. We also had what appears to be a White Forest, a Primite build, Dinkatron and friends, some Magical Musketeers. We had 1 Dragon Maid, and we also had a Voiceless Voice duelist out here as well. But honestly, looking at the landscape here, you know, TCG actually took care of OSS, but in the OCG, it is not doing anything. Like, the card is experiencing massive issues right now, and this is what we talk about with the natural power creep cycle of things. Now, your top cut here is going to paint a completely different picture than what you just saw out of that participation. You are going to notice that we have 2 Rizaol decks in here. Now, keep in mind, we were kind of starting to see Rizaol Palms show up a little bit as like a little free extender for this deck, trying to showcase, you know, some of the power that we could kind of get with that. It's progress, honestly, considering, you know, the current state of the deck is in. We also had 2 Memento. Your Memento conversion rate, we lost 5 Memento into this top cut, which isn't anything really too crazy. But with the way that Memento has kind of been fluctuating right now between like the projected best deck in the room and just like the deck that kind of struggles, I don't know if players just aren't playing an adequate amount of hand traps or really what's going on with this. But it is Memento's rise to fame has been something absolutely outstanding to watch, because we have pretty much the same card pool as them, minus 1 singular copy of Apollosa. Is the only difference between Memento here and there. Memento is not doing hardly anything here. We also have Orcust, and as I said, Orcust has been very notorious as of late. This deck has just risen up in the ranks in the OCG, and it just is continuing to I don't know why people are so like babbled by this. Get it? Dingrisu, when you can turn your effects into quick effects and set up some crap ton of interruptions against your opponent, like, I guess the modern era Yu-Gi-Oh deck just can't handle that. And then we also had 1 poor Malice duelist out here. Can you see that this is the format of the waifu minus Rizaol? I mean, heck, man, Rizaol just may as well be a female metabot at this point in time. Just go ahead and call it what it is. So that is your top cut for this event. Let's pass on over to deck list. 2019 called They Want Their Meta Back. So this is evidently what Orcust has evolved into out here in the current state. Triple symbol with the triple copies of your Harpor. I mean, that's all you really need. Who needs Nightmare Phoenix into the Nightmare Mermaid or any of that other lines of play out here? Because it doesn't really matter, because this deck is just doing everything that it wants to do. Triple Orchestrated Return. We are doing 1 copy of the Brass Bombard in here, and then, of course, you know, the full Fiendsmith package. But in order to, you know, truly show how disgusting that this format is, you know, the OCG still has Scythe Lock. They're still able to take away any of the opponent's real resistance just by flipping a Sanctuary on into a Scythe. And then your opponent's just like, oh yeah, I could not believe that the OCG left that alone, especially when you're ramping up all of your quick effects and then your opponent just looks at you and goes, yeah, I can't really do anything about this. This is also, the case of what happens when we ban Abyss Dweller. All right, evidently banning Dweller was just enough to send this deck packing back into the future. Next up here, we have some Memento. The fact that Memento was able to get second and third is very, very interesting. I see that we are doing the Goblin Biker Grand Breakout in here. We are doing 2-2 on that. 2 Memento Fusion, I think, has become more of the standardized number with that, which is fine. I also do see this build is playing Artemis to be able to toggle into the SP, just to kind of make the little line go a little bit easier. You do see we do have the Scythe lock down there. I see that they are citing the new guy that allows you to attack directly now. And of course, we are doing 1 Sheeple, which is fine. Also having the Maxis and the Fuwabarses in the main deck is fine. But honestly, looking at this, a little bit more board breaker stuff down on the side deck. In terms of what this deck is aiming to do, you just combo up, start putting the big bodies in the graveyard, get the 5k set up, and then spin on into the 5k, and then filter back all the extra stuff back into the deck on your next lap. Pretty easy. Now this build, our third place here, I see we are main decking 2 Ogres. We are actually main decking the attack directly guy in this build, so we actually decided not to get too incredibly spicy with that. This list actually is main decking the triple Memento Fusion. 2 and 3 is always going to be the way you're going to look at that card. I don't have the problem with playing the third, per se. It's just, it's one of those situations that you look at in terms of card development, and you're like, is the third really going to come up? Is the game going to go long enough that I have to roll into the next turn? And the card kind of is viewed a little bit more as a recovery option, just so you can kind of go ahead and establish. I see this build's also not playing the Scythe. The difference between first and second is literally a Scythe, a couple of little extra main deck cards, and of course, I see we're also playing some Solemn Strikes down here in the side deck as well. Okay, sure. Memento. All right, so what we got for Rizaol here? I do see that we are doing the 1EX is so sad, man. This build is playing double node, triple field spell. I also see, looks like the OCG has adapted towards actually bringing in the Pot of Desires in the main deck too. Okay, you gotta remember they still have 7 Tachyon, 7th Ascension. They can still toggle for every piece that they need in this deck. That part has not changed in terms of your consistency. The only thing that's changed is the amount of EXs that you can kind of just sack your opponent with and go. I also see, hey look, it's Scythe and friends. This build's also side decking Shifter, and we are actually side decking in the ability to toggle for the Shifter as well. The CU number down there gives you the ability to search for Lancia. So it looks like Malice is just getting bullied really, really hard out of the game. So that was our top 4. Now there were a couple of other lists I found along the way here. First one is going to be some Malice action for you here. You got to keep in mind when you're looking at Malice right now, this deck is really struggling to develop right now. You can see that this build gutted Appaloosa, don't even need, we're going down the Nightmare Griffin line instead, which typically is a little bit better. I guess they've just said screw it at this point, and they're actually just main decking the one allure. I can't really blame them for that, because, you may as well just toggle on. If you play the one of, you can draw in and actually go and see it, so you do have some options. I do see that we have the pack bit loading around down here in the side deck as well, so, if you do get the firewall up and running, you can at least send the pack bit for the form of the extra crystallization, so that you can kind of keep up the play line. You also do see that we are doing the Code of the Soul in here as well, but I guess the limitations on this deck really just sent this deck back like so much, or maybe Lancia just became way more relevant. And then we have one more Malice list for you here. Now this list is actually main decking the Shifters. We have come to the point right now that just dealing with all of the insanity that has been Memento has forced us back onto Shifter. That is freaking hilarious. I also see that we are playing is that the sales ban in here as well? Okay. No pack bit in this, but they are doing the transcode talker shenanigans. No update jammer, which is fine though. I have the Lances in the side for the mirror match, and they're actually playing 2 Dominus Impulse in here. Huh. Well, definitely some interesting ideas. Celeste also was back on the Appaloosa. Okay. So what do you guys think about these awesome decks in this breakdown? Please, leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. I'll see your beautiful faces back here in day, guys. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.